Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Talking Silkworm Podcast. Today we are going to talk about music because we have two different scenarios. One is we just want to use the music we like and we listen on the radio. We want to use it on our project. That's not right. I'm going to tell you what music you can use. And the other situation is we don't know where to find music for a project. Like, where do we get that nice track, that inspirational track, that upbeat track we want to use for our projects? We're going to cover that today. So the first point is, why music? Why does it matter? Why should we include music in our projects? The first thing is they build or they set a nice mood and tone to the content. Yeah, if it's something inspirational, if it's something educational, if it's something that you want to create suspense with, music adds to that. It brings that energy to the content. Yeah. Remember that music is part of building that bridge between the viewer's mind and your content. And what usually sticks everything together is the emotional part. Yeah. It's like that's what's going to help the viewer remember what you created. Yeah, that emotional layer. Same thing as in movies or TV series where a situation is enhanced by music. And sometimes you don't even hear the music because it's so emotional. It goes directly into your emotional side. You don't process the music mentally. You are not aware that it's there, but it actually helps a lot in emphasizing that emotional part. So that's one thing. The other is it boosts your professionalism. It adds to the perceived value of the production. Yeah, if it's just your voice or your image, that's fine. But if you include music, if you include graphics, if you include sound effects, of course, being careful that it doesn't affect the delivery of the message, because we don't want the music or the effects to become noise. So subtle, very smart use of music is going to add to that perceived value in your content. The other part, which is essential, super essential, is it adds to your brand identity. I'm sure there are commercials that have jingles, that have music that you can just repeat them in your mind easily. Whenever you listen to that jingle, you remember that brand. Or whenever you listen to that music track, you remember that TV series. That's what music does. Again, it goes back to building that emotional rapport. If a person listens to the music that identifies your brand, they are immediately going to think about your brand, about your voice, about your image, about what you do, about what you offer. Yeah. So part of building that image goes beyond the content. And music is an essential part of that. Yeah, the visuals, but in this case, the sound aspect of things. And the other thing is it makes it more entertaining. It makes content more entertaining. It keeps your listeners engaged. It keeps your audience engaged. Of course, and I would like to emphasize this again, you have to be very, very careful in terms of how you use music, because we want it to be something that enhances the experience, not that obstructs the experience when it's too loud or when it's played for a very, very long time. Now, copyright. We have to be mindful about copyright. Why does it matter? Well, first of all, because we don't want to get sued or we don't want to get fined. Most music is protected under copyright laws. Copyright laws might change depending on your country, but most cases, you have to be very careful with that, and you should not use any track you find around the internet or anywhere else unless you know what the copyright conditions are around that piece of music. Good? Using a piece of music or a track without the proper license can lead to a takedown notice, or just like your content being taken down from whatever platform you're using. It can affect your monetization, and it can lead, or it can end up in legal situations, and we don't want that. Okay, you must always get your music from sources where you have the clear instruction and the clear indication that it is okay to use. They're going to give you like the when, the how, the where you can use that music track. It's going to be all documented and written down. Okay, so what not to use? Music from the radio. That song that you love from your favorite, one of your favorite singers or artists, you just can't use that type of content. Yeah, this content is for your personal consumption. Yeah, whenever you listen to it on the radio or on your phone, that is for your personal use. We are going to use instead music from platforms that specifically provide tracks intended for commercial projects. We have free platforms, we have paid platforms. Free platforms, we have Mobi Free, we have Pixabay, we have Incompetech. Yeah, all the links to these platforms are going to be in the episode description. Please, even though these are free and these are friendly for using on your podcast and using on your projects, you have to check each of the licenses for each of the tracks. Even if you have one platform with multiple tracks, it is likely that each of the tracks has different licensing terms. So you have to go and check that specific track's licensing terms. Yeah, I think Mobi Free requires attribution, for example, so you have to link back to the creator. Pixabay, in most cases, doesn't require attribution, or doesn't require you to do any other thing other than just being able to, other than just using the music in your project. It will prevent you, for example, from reselling the music if it has not been edited or mixed with some other type of content. Yeah, you have to check that up. Incompetech, I think they have a similar rule. And they are all very, very good sources. High quality music, lots of options, lots of tones, lots of energies, lots of different rhythms and styles that you can use for your projects. Okay, so remember to check each track's specific license in order to know if you can use them or not. And a point that I have here on my slideshow is sometimes these have like different rules for different media or different platforms. So if you're going to be using the music on YouTube, they can have like particular requirements for that. If you're going to be using the music for something that you're going to broadcast on the radio, then the license can have like a particular detail or reference for that. Disclaimer, I am not a lawyer. I am not a copyright expert. Yeah, whatever decisions you make, whatever music you use, whatever actions you take are your own responsibility. All the information I'm providing here, you have to verify that it matches your local laws and your platforms or your company's legal aspects. Yeah, I am not responsible for any of the actions you take or any of the results you get. Any actions are under your own responsibility. Good. Okay, now let's go on to paid music sources. Paid music sources will usually give you higher quality tracks. They're going to give you also more options for you to find the right match for your project, because you're going to be able to filter by instrument or by genre or by tempo or by mood. So you're going to have a lot more control over what you're going to be using for your project. Where do I recommend like these paid sources? I recommend them if you have to constantly use different music for different scenarios. Yes, if you have to use like a different track for every video to create, or you have to use multiple tracks in a single video, this is where you can save a lot of time by using one of these platforms. Which ones do I recommend? I recommend Artlist.io and I recommend Premium Beat. You have to observe again, pay attention to each track's to each individual track's licensing terms. Good. Some licenses are for one project only, meaning one piece of content. So if you have a YouTube channel or a podcast, like that would mean only one episode or one video. So you gotta be like mindful of that whenever you're checking the license terms. Some of them cover multiple platforms, some of them cover only one platform, and some of them might vary depending on the size of your company and the size of your audience. So some of these aspects are dynamic. You have to be careful with those little details over there. Some suggestions for you to review the licensing terms. Good. The first thing is you got to check, does it require attribution? Does it require you to credit the creator or to credit a platform or to create a link that goes back to the creator's website? Yeah. Is it for one project only or is it for unlimited use? Okay, and this goes back to like how large your audience is, how many projects you're going to be using the track on, etc. Does pricing or permission change depending on audience size or business type? Yeah, if you're in an individual or if you're a small company or if you're a large company, does it change? Is commercial use included? Commercial use means that you are gonna use that for an ad or for a project that people have to pay to consume. Yeah, maybe for example a movie that people have to buy tickets for. Yeah. Again, as I'm saying, you have to contrast this with your local laws. Always. Never assume anything. Always read the license. Never assume. Always read. Always double check the license to make sure you are safe and covered. Final takeaway. Music shapes your audience's experience with the content. Yeah, they get to experiment the content in a different way with and without music. And without music, usually there is a better chance for emotional connection, for connecting with the brand, for remembering the brand, and for remembering all the information in the content as well. Be careful, protect yourself, protect your brand. Yeah, be mindful about the licensing terms each track has. This is like super complicated, but it is always good just to triple check. That's fine. If you want to continue receiving updates, insights on creating podcasts, creating video courses, creating video for YouTube channels and similar for your educational platform, this is where you can continue learning about that. And if you need help with the production of this content, how to do the video, how to do the audio, editing the audio, editing the video, we can help. Just let us know, and we will be glad to help. That's all for now. Thank you very much, and see you in the next episode. Goodbye.